Awesome, we're going. Alright, good morning, grade 9s.
Good morning.
Hey, I like the way you kind of put on that enthusiasm just for the video, well done. Okay, so welcome to our assignment introduction video. Welcome to everybody watching at home. Going through this sheet here. Make sure you have that in front of you as we go through. Okay, now we started working on this one yesterday, grade 9s. You hopefully got the first opening stanzas done yesterday using imagery. So, we're creating a narrative poem featuring a sympathetic character. Let's go through it. Firstly, you'll notice this picture. Hands up, what do you see there? Yes?
A bunny rabbit.
A bunny rabbit, excellent. What do you see there?
A duck.
A duck, awesome. At the end of this lesson, I'm going to ask you, why do you think I put that picture there on this task sheet? What's the significance of having that there on this task sheet? Alright. Narrative poetry, original poem. We have examined what makes an engaging narrative poem. It includes, so these are all the techniques we spent that time looking at. So an engaging narrative poem includes a sympathetic character, an engaging storyline, imagery, metaphor, rhyme, meter, and rhythm. You are to create a narrative poem based around a sympathetic character. Additionally, it should include a selection of the above techniques. Okay, so you're creating a narrative poem focused around a sympathetic character, and I want you to include a selection of these techniques here. Your poem should have between 12 and 20 stanzas. Now remember, stanza is what we call verses in poetry. So 12 to 20 verses, stanzas. That's assuming your stanzas are 4 lines long. So if your stanzas are 8 lines long, and they're very welcome to be, you can have them have whatever length you want. If they're 8 lines long, obviously then I'm looking for more like 6 to 10 stanzas in length. As always, don't take that to be a hugely restrictive thing. If you do 11 stanzas, that doesn't mean you're going to take off marks. If you do 22 stanzas, doesn't mean you're going to get penalised either. What that is a suggestion to let you know about what a reasonable poem would look like for this task. Any questions so far? Cool. Alright, I've got the marking criteria there. Pretty simple one, mainly because poetry is hard to mark in the sense that it's quite flexible and is unique to each poem. So it's not as prescriptive, this marking criteria, as it would normally be. But let's go through that. So I'm marking you on 3 things. I'm marking you on your character, on your storyline, and your poem's emotion, okay? Your character, poem's emotion, and the storyline. So, with your character, I want a sympathetic and engaging character. I want a character that I can connect with. Think about Aquaman, think about Laika the dog, think about Wally. All of those are brilliant characters because we could connect with them. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to create characters in your poems that I connect with, or that the reader connects with. Now, if you're a little bit confused about how to do that, remember, we took plenty of notes on this a couple of weeks back. So go back into your notes. This might have been in your Microsoft Word document at this stage. Go back to your notes and look at what makes a sympathetic character. We've got lots of good notes there to help you out. You're getting quite a few marks to do with sympathetic characters. Up in more than a third of your marks are coming from your character. So make sure you spend time thinking about them. And make sure you use that imagery to show me their character, like we did yesterday. Let's quickly look at that actually. So yesterday, collaboration space. Cool. Yesterday, we did this as a class. So we had our character, we decided we wanted to make a sympathetic character. We were showing he was sympathetic by, he trips up a lot, he's a bit awkward, but he's a nice guy, he's generous, and he's a student. Now that's just the basic ideas of that character, right? We haven't shown that yet. That's not very interesting. They're his personality traits. So what we did is we used imagery to bring that character to life, which is exactly what you're going to do. So we took these ideas and we found scenarios that showed those characteristics like this. With a smile on his face but his eyes on her, he climbed the stairs as a thought occurred. He tried to impress her with nunchuck skills. He tried to impress her with Fortnite kills. Rehearsing how he would kill guys who Twitch stream, tripped on the step, and now only dates her in his dreams. So, we took those characteristics over here, and we brought them to life through showing our character. I want you to do the same thing. I could have easily written a poem that went something like, our man walks around but he trips up a lot, and then he smiles because he's quite awkward, and then he's also generous, but he's also a student, and that rocks, or something. I could do that, but it's very boring, it's very dull. What's more fun is if we come up with situations for use that imagery to show all that stuff. Any questions at this point? Cool. Okay, so you're getting marked on your character. Think carefully about your character and how you can bring them to life. Storyline. So make sure something cool happens. Don't make it dull, don't make it boring. Don't you dare end it with, and then he woke up, and then the aliens came, or anything silly like that. Make sure you think carefully about the conflict. So what's the problem? What's going to go wrong? And make sure you end it well. Don't end it with, and they all lived happily ever after. Yeah.
It shows on the sheet that it's got 15, 10, 15, but the high score is 32, which is the 12, 8,
We'll get to
12.
that in just a second. We'll go through this, then we'll get to that.
Okay.
Cool. Last thing I'm marking you on is poem's emotion. Generally speaking, your emotion is going to come from good use of these things up here. Okay? So you're getting 12 marks on your emotion. I'm encouraging you to use these things here to add to that poem's emotion. As this helpful little bubble says, do a great job and get a great grade by doing this. Look at the list of techniques. Deliberately try to work them into your description and story. Some will work, some won't. Keep the awesome bits, remove the iffy bits, and keep going. So much of writing great stuff is trial and error. I obviously didn't format my box correctly. And error. So much of writing great stuff is trial and error. So, to get a great grade in this assignment, what I want you to do is look at these techniques and say, okay, Mr. Grieger is marking me on my use of these techniques. He's also telling me that if I include these, they'll make my poem better and more interesting. So gosh darn it, I better try and use them. And actually go back to your notes and go, okay, imagery. What's imagery again? Okay, it's all about engaging people's senses. Okay, sight, sound, smell. Okay, let's add some sound to this poem. Welcome, anonymous student. Pause there for a second. We're filming this lesson and we don't want them to see you, so come on through, it's fine. In fact, what I'll do is I'll edit this bit out so we can do anything.
Yes!
Stop that, I'm out of here.
Lock the door, he's letting us out.
Short intermission. Short intermission.
Awesome.
10 hours.
Thank you, anonymous student. Awesome. Alright, forget where we were. Cool, yeah, so deliberately use those techniques. Actually go and try and think how you can include those techniques in your writing. Some of it will work, some of it won't, and that's okay. Delete what's good, don't delete what's bad, and keep what's good. Okay, marking structure. So, Santa's point is a good one. So this is out of 32, so 100% on this assignment is 32 marks out of 32 marks. But, what I noticed is that, hang on, if you add up 15, 10 and 15, you get something more like 40. How does that work out? It works out like this. So, if you do just a good, solid poem, it's good, it's not bad, it's good, but it's not brilliant, you can expect to get marks, you can expect to get marks in here. Okay? So, if your character is good, not great, but not terrible, you're going to get 9 out of 12. If your storyline, again, is good, solid, you're going to get 6 out of 8. If your emotion is, again, good, about where you'd expect a grade 9's poem to be, you're going to get 9 out of 12. Now, if it's brilliant, if it's heaps better than that, you're going to be getting 12 out of 12, 8 out of 8, 12 out of 12. So these are 4 marks over here. But in most of my assignments, certainly the more complex ones, I add in this 4th column. What this is above 100%. Now, I haven't seen any of your original poetry before. Some of you might be like, ooh, poetry. And some of you might be like, ooh, poetry. And just to allow room for any brilliant writers, either with creative tasks or even with the formal tasks, I have this column here. If you do a better job than a brilliant job, you will get marks over here. You'll get marks higher than 100%. And it does happen, particularly towards the end of the year. Thank you. Towards the end of the year, some of you should be aiming for marks over here. I'm marking you a grade 9 standard from day 1 of grade 9 through to the very last day of grade 9. And so hopefully by the end of the year, some of your grades will start to push up over here. So if you create a character that's brilliant, absolutely fantastic, and I think you deserve more than 4 marks, I'll give you grades over here. Does that make sense? Cool. Cool. Any other questions about this assignment as a whole? Due date, Tuesday, week 8, 8 a.m, so that's 6 days away. So due this coming Tuesday at 8 a.m. I'm going to get you to upload it to OneNote like we did with your other assignment, okay? Any final questions? Yes?
Why did you put that picture on there?
We'll come back to that in just a second. Alright, cool. Hands up. Why do you think I put that picture up there? Yeah.
I think, my personal opinion, it's, I don't know how to say this, but like a bit of a, almost like a clue or a little help for a sympathetic character.
Interesting. Could be. Yes.
Expression of imagery.
Also, I can see where you're coming from there. Yeah. How would it be an expression of imagery?
Because it's got 2 sides of the spectrum. It's 2 animals.
Awesome. Good thinking. Any other thoughts?
Some fun.
That's always part of it. Assessment task sheets can get pretty dull sometimes. So yeah, I often try and put something in there to liven them up a little bit.
Duck rabbit.
Cool. Now the actual reason I put that up there isn't one that's been said, but the ones you said are just as good. So I'm not actually going to tell you the reason behind why I put it up there. You can live forever in mystery. When you're 88 years old and your grandson says, "Do you have any regrets, Grandpa?" You can be like, "Not finding out why Mr. Krieger put that rabbit duck thing on the poetry shit. That's eaten me up all these years."